Right then, welcome back to Maniacal Mac Chats. I'm with the one and only, the legend himself, VITO Trigo. So first and foremost, my friend, thank you very much for coming back for the third time lucky. So mate, really appreciate it, my dude.
I'm glad to be back. I'm glad that, I want to say thank you to the positive comments and everybody that's been tuning in. I appreciate it. It makes a hairy, goofy artist feel nice.
Awesome, mate. And in usual Maniacal Mac fashion, just like last episode, there was a couple of things I should have asked, which I forgot to ask. So I'm going to get into it straight away. With the movie Pigpen, your character Wayne, I never really asked, what did you actually feel about the character himself, Wayne?
Well, I mean, there's like, have you ever seen the film Manhunter?
I wait, who's in that one?
Well, it's the movie before Red Dragon.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. I
about
know the
Hannibal
one.
Lecter. Yeah,
Yeah, I know
yeah.
the one. Yeah.
And there was the Will Graham character. It was like something he said about like Francis Dollarhide, the serial killer, where he was like, "I feel sorry for the child that was abused,
Oh,
but
okay,
I,
yeah.
I feel nothing for the man. I mean, for the man that is doing these terrible things." And I think that's a way to go about Wayne, where in your head, this character you created, I feel sorry for the child that was abused, but I feel nothing for the man that is standing there. So,
True.
and I'm not one of those guys that's like, I need to like my character to play my character. Like, no, I just need to understand him. There's a
Yeah.
difference. You don't have to like a character. You have to understand a character and where he's coming from.
It's facts! It's facts! It's not facts. These facts is not facts.
Even when those things are like totally messed up. Like, what
Mm.
is his frame of thinking? This is what he's thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have to like him. But I don't like Wayne. I don't like Wayne.
Well, yeah, I was going to say he is quite a crazy character, as we said in the last one, but
Yeah.
that says a lot, though,
Yeah.
man, as well, isn't it? That basically you went out of your comfort zone, but you still managed to pull off a character, even though you didn't want to do it, you pulled it off. So that says a lot as well. So respect to you doing that, man.
Oh yeah. That's all in the eye of the beholder.
We did, again, another thing we brushed over in the first episode was your technically your first feature-length movie on IMDb, although we know Blood at Sundown was the first. So we'll talk about this one on IMDb. Dark Windows, big up to you. You sent it over to me recently. I've been wanting to watch it for a while. Absolute legend, send it over. Got an episode, check it out. I can have the red room, like, oh shit, that's never a good sign in these films, oh. Don't walk into hell, mate. Don't close that door. Oh yeah, triple veto action here, like, you know what I mean? 3 for the price of 1, good effort. Oh shit, what's going on here? Is this just a murderer? Oh shit, Vito just got it into a toilet, oh fuck. So if you're up for it, mate, talk a little bit about this, because this is one I recently watched, actually. So this is actually the one that you wrote yourself, didn't you, my friend? You actually wrote this movie, didn't you?
Oh, I wrote it, and then my buddy Justin fine tuned it and fixed it, and made it very. What's the word? He fine tuned it. He fine tuned it and put like all the necessary script elements to it to make it make sense. So
Okay,
we were
yeah.
very good collaborating on that. And it was. Now this was just a lot of me banging my head up against the wall trying to figure because we wanted to do a horror film. So I was
Yeah,
like
okay.
scouring the internet looking for interesting things, something different, and then I found this Gaelic, you know, rhyme. Go home to be the first.
Read my book.
Yeah,
You'll see.
I'm sorry, Mr. Layfield.
Jared, please.
Jared, I feel like I would be wasting your time. I don't review books or
Nah.
interview authors. Or...
Fair play goes the guys, like, you know about my work, you've come prepared, haven't you? And Vito's like, I mean, like, I don't think it'd be fair if I did, like, you know. Good thinking, Vito, I like that.
You're here to be interviewed by me.
What? You didn't, what?
What for?
Okay, I'm not mad at him, like, you know what I mean? You know,
Do you
check
hear
out,
voices asking for help?
Vito's interviews, like, you know what I mean? This guy knows his goal.
And it was all about a beast will get you if you don't get home fast. It was all about
Yeah, yeah.
and it kind of came from that, where it was like, oh wow, this is like and then start just getting the things going a little bit and make it kind of like a little bit of phantasm in there, and it was more like just that line that Angus says was like, you play good game, boy, but now you die.
You
play a good game, boy. But the game is finished. Now you die.
You know,
Classics.
there's something about that line with the game. You know, it was like, okay, cool, game. You know, it was like a lot of things went into Dark Windows where it was just like what intrigued me, and then what I wanted us as a little collaborative unit. You know, Justin, Jeff, the rest of the crew of just Gregory, of just putting together. And I remember and then I came up with Anton was just a name that I liked, and then Peck was Gregory Peck.
So are you gonna record this?
Well, they're recording it right now, mate. Camera's on you. Action, go. Come on, don't you know? Director said action fucking 2 minutes ago.
I'll tell you, you made me kill all those people.
You kill those people.
Tell him,
You're
Vito.
about to kill Ali Friedman. How are you keeping
Thank
that?
you for stopping me.
You killed my friend.
Yeah?
I didn't.
Yes, you did. This is.
I mean, you did. You stabbed him. It was you.
His name is Am.
His name is what?
What?
He's choking when he tries to say his name.
What?
What the fuck is happening to him? Is he swallowing his own tongue or something? What? Did he rip his own tongue out? What? Okay. And he's writing the guy's name in blood, is he, I guess, yeah? Oh shit, 2 years later? Jesus Christ.
And I put Gregory Peck.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom.
Right,
So,
okay.
and then we started getting the ball rolling once I busted out a script, and Justin fixed it. And it was just this nice little chunk at a time where it was just like, pure grit, pure just wanting to make something. All of us coming together. Yeah, I was like a semester out of high school, semester out of college. The guys were still in college, so it was me going back and forth between New York and New Hampshire,
Okay.
where we went to college at. And it was just like, making the movie on the fly, all of us together hanging out. It was just a nice little time.
Oh shit! Are you sure?
You get enough screen time.
Greg's actually character is really good on this one. Like Greg,
Yeah.
I really like this character. You said he was based off De Niro's character. Didn't he inspire himself? Was it De Niro's character from Angel Heart, I believe, was it?
That's what he used. That's what he used once I presented the character to him. It has a little bit of that, and it feels like a distant cousin to like a Stephen King character. Like a Randall Flagg or Andre Lenoche from Storm of the Century. It feels like he could be in that family of stranger comes to town and he has mystical powers type of thing. I love the character of Anton Peck, and I've always, like I told you before, I have like 3 scripts lying around in a hard drive around the house somewhere, or some printed out script that I just never done anything with because I don't know, it just sits there and collects dust, and I'm like, okay, dokie. I mean, because it's been so much time since we made that movie, and like we were so gun ho when we first started. It's like, okay. It's like I need like some enthusiasm or some like the spark. But I always talk about the spark to kind of get that going again. But hey, who knows?
But like I honestly thought you've done a great job on it, to be honest, man. Like for the first like movie you ever wrote yourself, because like if it was your first movie you wrote, the script, like the whole process of that took actually quite a while, didn't it? Like you said, to refine the script. That wasn't a case of like we'll do over the course of a few months. It was a lot longer than that, wasn't it, to actually get it done and into production.
Yeah. So, well, actually, the original idea. Oh wow, it came back to me. There we go. The original idea of Dark Windows came from a short story that I wrote in high school.
Oh wow, did it?
Yeah. Where the character of Layfield, played by Charlie, is actually called Rebadow. It just popped in my head. Yeah, it was like it was that little. It started off with the reporter coming to meet the author, and it became this thing, and then but there was no the backstory of the there was no Anton Peck. That was the new thing. The Anton Peck is what was created and put into that story. Right. There was a character, a journalist, an author, the trading of the powers and going off and fighting darkness. There was no deliberate Anton Peck yet, and there was no 7 days.
Something that can't be touched. Fear is his strength. Shit like that.
What is it?
You don't want to hear about it.
I need to hear it.
Oh, Vito wants you all the information. Just give it to him, bro.
You're the one that he wants. Within 7 days, he has to beat you. Everyone else.
Oh shit. Okay, so you literally get a week. Okay, so you're gonna end up going against what's that ring woman's name? Is it Sadaku? I can't remember the fucking name. Or the ring woman, like 7 days, isn't it? I wonder if right at the end she comes out the TV and fucking Gregory King has a fight with her. That'll be quite interesting.
There was no game. It was just fighting general darkness. But it came from that little scene that I wrote as a short story.
Oh,
Back
wow.
when I dared to write short stories, when I had no idea how bad at grammar or editing I was. I'm pretty sure if I read it now, I'd be like, "Oh God, I put this in the school paper. I put this in the school like it was like a high school
wow,
like
is it? You
here,
had like a-
here, put stories in." And I
wow.
think my buddy edited it. My buddy Terrence edited it for me, and I remember him. But now I probably see where like, what are you talking about? Now I would see like, oh God, yeah, that was a hard thing to edit. So.
Your brother actually makes an appearance in Dark Windows as well, doesn't he? And respect to him, because the amount of dialogue he's got to pull out of the bag and like the things he's saying, I'm like, wow, do you remember all this? Fair play to him. You've done a great job, like.
Morning. Evening.
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 Excuse me, good sir. We are shooting a movie here, and you don't even know what time of day it is? Come on!
Morning, he's like, even it. Hold on, that's Vito's brother. In real life, I'm sure that's Vito's brother in real life.
Oh shit.
Ah,
One of them.
he's like, shit, you're him.
Hey, if you're here, he's not far behind.
Hey, I need you to listen to me, okay? I need you to help me.
And I traced it back to an old folk tale
Oh, here we
about a
go.
child untouched by God. And since he's untouched, he's doomed to hell.
How can I kill him?
Vito's like,
He can't
I
be
don't care about
touched.
all that shit. How do I kill him?
How can you kill?
Oh, he had it memorized. And we just did long takes. We did long takes up until a certain part where we were just giggling fools. But there was like the first few takes he just whammed him back, he bammed him out and everything, and then there was this other takes where we just couldn't. It had to do with Lombardo, my buddy coming up asking for the silver
Okay.
spears, which is a nod to Phantasm, you know, and he was
Yeah.
just like, you know, like, do you have any silver spears? You know, it's like, yeah, you know. So and that's just cracking up because we couldn't make it through it. And I remember
Excuse me. You guys, silver spears?
Please.
Excuse me. You got any silver spears? Come on, I got it.
If you have any information, get down on the floor. You're queuing him in too soon.
Yeah.
that was one of the funnest moments because my brother came on set. It was the first time I acted with him on film, and that was like a, you know, nail it out of the park day, you know, because it felt like an actual movie set for a second, you know. We had the run of this costume place that was down like you know, it was in the town that Justin lived in, and he was able to kind of, we were able to take it over for a little bit.
Right, okay.
But it felt like an actual movie, like, you know, we had this place for this certain amount of time, and we need to get this stuff done, you know, that kind of thing. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Like,
We got the actor driving on in to you know, for the day, as my brother, you know, we're gonna do the scene. It was like, it felt like a movie. It like the ball rolling on like what would, like, you know, come later on in other projects and other movies where you have the feeling of a movie set. So
that's amazing, like, but yeah, I'd recommend anyone, like, you know what I mean, it's you know, if you can find it and stuff, definitely worth a watch. Like I said, it's was it 48 minutes, so it's, you know, it is actually technically feature film, because this is something I was looking up. I think if it's over 40 minutes, I think it's classified as a feature film, I believe, because this is where I was getting confused. Like, so it's actually a feature film, this is, like, as well, like, so. But yeah, if you can search it out, fully recommend it. Like, you know, I think you guys done a fantastic job for, like, it's your second, but we'll say, we'll go by IMDb, technically your first feature film. I think you was a great job, to be honest, man, personally, like, you know. So respect to everyone involved. That's what I want to say.
it was pure grit, pure, you know, like, taking a big swing and seeing if anybody likes it or see if it's not. And it's one of those things where it didn't. It got dismissed a little bit whenever we try to put it out there, and who knows? Maybe maybe I can resurrect it in some
That'd be
form
pretty
now
sick,
with
mate.
my knowledge, my own. Because because we've all gone off and the group has gone off and done their other things and other avenues, and it's like maybe now maybe it's something I can put on my own back and be like, maybe I'll do this.
Yeah.
Who
no
knows?
reason why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I hope so, mate. But what you were saying earlier about talking of grit and swinging, mate. This is a good little segue. In what was it? It was in 2016 was when you've done the show with Justin Morales called Wrath of the Blood Angel. I will give a quick shout out to Justin Morales. We've actually done an interview and discussed some of this as well. But I want to discuss it a bit more of yourself. You play the character of Frank. You're an artist, and basically you. And inspired by like a superhero, and you kind of become the superhero that you created in a way, because you kind of go around and fighting villains. But this ain't your typical kind of like, a superhero movie. This is a lot more gritty and realistic, you know what I mean? So what was the inspiration, and how did you actually in the first place get involved in this one, my friend?
Morales is a close friend. We met on Newcomb High. Once again, like it's a little connection to Newcomb High. And he just called me up and wanted, like, I want to do a superhero movie, And my first reaction was, this ain't getting made. It's a superhero movie. This ain't happening. I don't got to worry about this. I agreed to do it. I was like, I'll do it. And then, then all of a sudden it just snuck up on me. He's like, we're going to do it. And I was like, ah.
Oh, okay.
Whoopsie fucking daisy!
So I immediately just started, like, working out and kind of like, I was like, shit. Because it's one of those things, like, like you hear about the prep time for like actors where it's like they had like a year or 6 months and going on a diet. It was a much shorter time for me, and I was there like, crap. But now since we're trying to do a grittier, kind of like the average man stepping into the superhero role, I could remove the having to look like a comic book character, like the broad shoulders, zero waist, and kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna like I'm like more of like Night Owl Watchman, where it's like he's donning the suit, but it's kind of like it's a little tight here, it's a little tight there. Okay, let's go. So it's kind of going with that approach to it, where I was like, okay, I don't have to look like I gotta get the job done. I don't have to look like a superhero.
Well, talking to the clothes, you were filming this in basically, was it the middle of winter? Because it was like snow, it was freezing temperatures. So you had to wear like thermals and stuff, didn't you? So that's actually how the suit was created, because you had to buy thermals to keep warm, isn't it? Is that how like the actual was created? Or?
Well, I remember me and Justin went shopping, and it was like he was like looking at stuff, and I was like, how about this right here? Look at this. And I was like, yes, that'd be great, because it was thermals.
Yeah.
Because now this is like the knowledge thing where you're like, when are we filming this? Around winter or that cold time of the year? So I was like, let's take care of myself. Because if I'm gonna be out in the streets, I was like nighttime. I was like, let's keep it warm. And even like underneath it, I had like Under Armour cold wear underneath the costume too. So I was taking care of myself. I was like, I am not going to be freezing my balls off wearing like a skin tight outfit in the middle of the streets. I'm like, I'm going to feel as comfortable as I possibly can. Because of like other projects where like you didn't have that and it was just there like this. I can't move my fingers because they're frozen.
It's like the end of The Shining, like.
Exactly. With me, Jack Nicholson. It's like it gets that cold, especially in the New York area with the winds and whipping around buildings and whatnot. You're like, ooh, it's a lot colder with the wind. So
yeah, I bet me.
Making sure that I was taken care of with the costume. Even though I was kind of like, this stuff, get this. But the intriguing part was the fight scenes. I mean, that was the thing that I was like, let's do this and let's do rehearsals.
You tell him, boss. You got him, boss.
Punch me.
Ooh. You like the freaky stuff, huh? That's cool.
Bam it out, and like, and then we record the rehearsals so we can, because like, it being low budget, endeavor, that you kind of like can't be like, let's like have like a week of rehearsals just doing fight choreography, or a month of rehearsals beforehand. So like we blocked it, we tried to choreograph it, and we filmed it to review later and watch it and study it.
Spike! Bow wow!
Oh, you're supposed to catch it, yeah.
Missed it.
Go, let's just get up and do that again. Do that again.
And what I didn't know later is that, that we weren't able to tie down the people that I did the rehearsals with.
Oh, right.
But I did a lot of, so like the people I did the rehearsals with, they were not on set.
Right, okay, yeah.
Because I'm looking at some of the footage now, and I'm like, man, I had some good chemistry with that guy. I wish he was on set. I was like, or he, like, that guy had some good,
Man, I didn't shoot anybody.
Try grabbing at me, try doing that.
Man, I didn't shoot anybody, man.
So it's interesting how, like, when you fast forward to that part where it's there's three big fights. There's three fight sequences in the movie. There's the alleyway fight.
Nice.
Respect. West Side.
Nice. Yay. A fucking ninja star move. Yeah, fuck him up.
He's like some modified Daredevil in a way.
Yeah.
The character
He's like, fuck this, I'm gone, but... Yeah.
There is the fighting the thugs that lead up to the big fight with the guys. So it's like, so it's interesting how, for the most part, the thug fight where I'm fighting all the thugs went the smoothest up to a point, but the alleyway fight and then the big fight at the end didn't go so smoothly. And this is like the really learning process of things, because I borrowed the mask so I could work out in the mask and do physical stuff in the mask, so I could get used to the mask.
Yeah.
But the one thing I didn't take into account was like that my peripheral was off, a little bit.
Yeah.
So
when we took a bit kind of like that, oh shit.
Yeah. So when we took the rehearsals from the garage to the actual location, which was a very narrow alleyway, it changed things up a lot. And then when you had like an actor who was my height in the rehearsals to an actor who's not my height in the actual scene, it changed up things so much.
Yeah, I can imagine. On the day as well, isn't it really? Like, shit, man.
Oh, yeah. And then, because like in the alleyway scene, we had to go over stuff that day and figure out stuff with that actor that day. And then you get, you get people who are not the most physically coordinated and agile, and it's no fault to them, but it's like this is why they are stuntmen, and this is why there's like months and weeks of like prep. But on an indie level, you kind of sign on to be like, okay, we're doing this. Either we're doing this with minimum rehearsals or day of stuff. Yeah. And but this is when stuff's gonna get a little funky. And I remember like we were doing me and him struggling in the alleyway with a thug, with Morales and the with the other thug played by Matt, and he's a good guy. But Morales' stuff went pretty good because we did that bit by bit, and then when you did his stuff, it was like us struggling. But remember, I said like he's taller. When I was doing rehearsals, I had somebody that was more my height. So I'm bringing him down, trying to get him in the level. And I remember the nightstick. I had the nightstick in this part, and the nightstick went up and hit him in the head.
Oh, did it?
And I hate that. I hate that so much. He got hit in the head, and we took a second to stop, and but like crap, and it was like but it was because of like new environment, taller actor, trying to get that intensity into it. Where everything worked out before, but then when we had it, it's just curveballs being thrown. So it was a learning lesson for me, being like having to But then after that, I was like, okay, we're bringing this down bit by bit. We're gonna So after that, and he took it like a champ. It happened. And
fair play.
we moved on. Yeah, but it was just one of those things. I was like, ugh. It was the stuff that because like it went so easy in the rehearsals. But there were so many other variables that once it came up, it just should have been like more like let's just take this down a notch. But it's like let's go. It's like like I said, like I was spoiled with science team and on Pigpen. I mean, with Rich on science team and Michael on Pigpen, where they were very even though you had like two different guys, you had Rich, who was a very physically athletic guy.
Oh, go on. Nice. Go on, Chip. This is awesome.
And then you had Michael, who's an older gentleman, but he was still like, limber and can go and kind of like let you guide him. But then sometimes when you don't have that that element to it of being like that physical chemistry with somebody, it can get very like a little like, oh crap, something happened. It's like you didn't mean for it to happen, and accidents happen, and you just be very sorry and you move on, and you accidents happen. But I mean, but there are all kinds of accidents, and there are all kinds of ways to go about it. I remember something in the big thug fight. I had to go over stuff on the spot with people, and we have to go do stuff. Now this was completely different. All this stuff went very well. It went smoothly. So it's kind of strange how the stuff I thought I was going to have a lot of issues with, went the smoothest,
Okay.
Because all the thugs had these different little parts to it, like the guy, the kick and the grab the balls, and and the and take the knife and making the person stab themselves, and slicing the neck and then throwing the knife and like all that, and then Gregory Black, the professional wrestler who helped out on RumbleCon, he was there. And we created something on the spot, something new that I hadn't come up with. That wasn't even something to go off of. Me and him, he was there, and I was like, I asked Justin, I was like, hey Justin, can I do something with Gregory? Because he's here and he's he's a professional wrestler. He's good, And so we created something on the spot that is my favorite part of Blood Angel. It was like what I had in my head of what I wanted, like all the fights and all the things and the intensity and everything to it, And and we just came up with it, and it was like wonderful. And I always think back about on that part, especially since he passed away, a few years ago.
No.
It was he passed away, and it was like so I always go back that I had like the time on RumbleCon, and I had this moment. So and we created something on the spot, and I was always like that I really like, dang, right there. It's like it's my favorite part of the fight. Of the entire anything in that movie, that's my favorite. Take that off, cut it, put it over here. So, but like I said, all the bits came up pretty well.
But then, another kind of accident happened on set with yourself, didn't it? I think, when you were doing a later scene when you're fighting, I think it's the main guy, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a scene where I think it was like a mistiming.
Okay, so I was like, okay, now in the rehearsals, Big Joe, who played the Rats gang leader, it was a bit of a clunky time. It was a lot of stop and go, here, okay, hit me now. So I was like, let's run through it, before we actually do it. And we're doing the run through, and there was a certain part where, I get dazed because I'm taking most of the beating. In my head, I always had it, okay, it's a bit clunky in the rehearsals, but I'm the one taking most of the abuse. I'm the one that's, getting thrown around the most. I'll make it work. I'll make it work because I've dealt with in the past actors who didn't remember blocking very well or weren't physically coordinated. So it was kind of like, okay, this is something we can work with, So So that was my own ego and my own pride that was like, I can make this work. I don't have to make a big thing about it. I'll make it work.
Okay.
You know? So, duh. And so here's the part where I'm dazed, and I just start throwing like blind punches because get away from me, get away from me, and I'm flinging my arm. Now I'm not really throwing a punch, but I have my hand like this, and for some reason, he threw a hook, boom, and hit my hand like that, and it fractured something in my hand, where the rest of the night, holding something was just a pain in the ass. And I was just like, oh, wow. And it was like, and I remember another buddy named Liam, who was the son of Evan, the director, and friends with Justin, and he was always there. He was always around. He was just like, dude, did he hit your hand? I heard that. And I was like, yeah.
Wow,
now, ooh. And it was just like, so like having to, and I didn't tell anybody. Because it was cold. It was super cold because this is the big fight scene out in the parking lot and everything.
Yeah.
So you could feel like there was like people still wanted to work, but it was also that kind of like everyone was freezing behind the camera. Everyone's cold. They don't have like 5 pounds or 5 layers of thermals like I do. So
yeah, of course.
And, yeah. So I was kind of like, okay, let's just get through this. Especially since Big Joe, gang leader, had no idea that anything went wrong. He's like, this is fun. And I was like, yes, it's fun. Yes, it was totally going over his head.
Really fun, mate, yeah.
So it wasn't malicious. Nothing was being done maliciously. So I was in my head, I was like, oh, I'm in this weird position where, like, we need to get this done. Because like, we filmed, like, all that, the fight with the thugs and everything was all one night.
So you've done this after fracturing your hand. You continued to film the rest of it as well, then?
Yes.
Respect. West Side.
I think everything leading up to that, I was fighting all the other thugs before that and everything, and then going right up into this. So I was already like a little like, okay, I'm a little winded, So I had to. But then this happens, and I'm like, ugh. So and it was one of those things like where you live and you learn, and you're like, okay, in retrospect, maybe we could have broken this up a little bit more, and maybe had like stuff like that where, like I said, like these situations you learn from them. If you repeat them, that's the bad thing because mistakes are going to happen, Yeah. If you do them again, that's when the fault is. So this happened, and we chugged on through, but that became like the where like the big fight sequence at the end is just something I wish I could go back and redo. Which is why I'm always like telling Justin, I'm always like Justin Morales, I'm always telling him like, let's do a Blood Angel sequel. Come on. I want to go back there and do it again because I had. That big fight scene I had in my head, like that it would be something like Jean-Claude Van Damme and Cyborg. Or the end movie where it's Jean-Claude Van Damme facing that big villain.
It's all raining and stuff, isn't it? And that, like, that's a good scene. Like, that whole fight scene's amazing. It's so good, bro.
Because, like, you see that big guy, he's like,
yeah, that's
right. It's just like, there's like, it's so, it just wasn't where I wish it was. I mean, he edited it great. He made it work, but, like, it's like, but because of my hand and everything that was going on, it was, like, so, like, it just became something else that wasn't what I wanted it to be.
Yeah, well, the thing is, naturally, when you break your hand on set, it's going to be on your mind a bit, so you can't 100% focus. Like, at the end of the day, you're like, oh, shit, am I going to be able to, like, do this without injuring my hand even more? So that's natural, it's going to be on your head a bit as well, man. It's just unfortunate, though, isn't it,
Also, I had to make sure that I didn't hurt Joe because of, like, me focusing too much on that. So it was, like, a hesitancy and a little, like, So I just felt so inhibited in the moment that, I was like, I don't know.
Saying it was like actually like amazing, like, seeing fight scenes at the end, and, respect to Justin as well. You've done a good job. Because knowing about all this, I had no idea about all these stories when I watched it. It was me and Hibbs who watched it, and we were like, good job. Knowing all these stories, though, extra props, mate. Not knowing the difficulties you had to go through, just more challenges yet again on set. But I guess that's part of the game, isn't it? Really?
Well, I was talking about this with a friend of mine, where there is this like unbeknown agreement when you go onto an indie set that these like these are the things that are kind of these are the things that are going to happen, and these are the situations you're going to have to deal with a little bit, but like I said, you live and you learn, and you prepare for the next time, so, and like I just did a project with Justin that we're working on right now where we had physical stuff and we applied all the things that we learned from Blood Angel into that little moment. So
amazing.
So I'm just saying, like, you live and you learn, and you utilize the knowledge you've learned. So it's not if you repeat it again, that's the issue. If you repeat the thing again, but like you said, like these things are going to happen, especially when you do physical stuff and you start, things are gonna go a little awry sometimes.
So, something I should ask about Wrath of the Blood Angel, how was your actual working relationship with Justin Morales in general then, my friend?
It was great. I mean, he was very. I mean, we collaborated a lot, and we game planned a lot, and we, because like with rehearsals, he recorded all the rehearsals and put it out for us to learn and everything. Like he was on game. He was ball for that. He was like trying to cover the bases and like figuring out my costume and everything like that, and lending me the mask because it was his personal mask. I had that mask for a long time. I mean, so he was like totally like gave me what I needed to feel comfortable in the role, collaborating back and forth. Like remember, like when I suggested, the little Gregory fight scene, he was totally cool with that. It's like, yeah, just work it out. Yeah, you guys want to do it? Yeah. He was like, totally on ball with it. There was no back and like no. So, I mean, very collaborative. I mean, he asked me. I mean, just to fast forward. I mean, he was like, "Hey, Vito, can you do this little voice?" This voice of a serial killer and graphic violence. Like, yeah, sure, buddy.
Yeah, fair play to him, mate.
Yes, I'm like,
it sounds like he gives you a lot of freedom. He gives you a lot of freedom in your roles, by the sounds of it. He gives you freedom, quite a bit of freedom in your roles, then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he just lets me fly and lets me work. Works on. And if there's anything he needed particularly, he would just ask me, and I'd give it to him. So.
Oh, okay.
So, but also like, but Justin's also great on the technical side of things. He's very good, like thinking on the technical side of things. So, sound editing. So when he's like filming, he's like, oh, I'll fix this here. I'll fix this there. Or, something here, something there. So it's like, well, because like I remember like it came up on Infers where there were like certain moments like when I'm like punching Sarah in the bed. Christopher Boosie wasn't sure how I was gonna look. It's like I don't know how that's gonna look. I mean, your punches look kind of like in my head. I'm like, well, I mean, it's motion and sound. I mean, the sound effect will make the motion work. Yeah. Because like it was something where I was like, it's the magic of editing, brother. Like when you get later, like the editing will make it work. So it's like it's one of those things like, but like Justin as a director knows that. You'd be like, oh yeah, we do this, we do that. It'll be good, so
certainly like
he has like those two sides, the technical side and like the artistic side working very well together. So
amazing
Respect.
Right then, so in 2016, mate, same year as Wrath of the Blood Angel, you were involved in a movie called Infers. Crazy film this. You played the role of Earl. The gentleman is he takes a bad batch of heroin and then he has a lot of hallucinations. You're wondering, is this happening? Is it not happening? There's a lot of that going on. But your character in this is mad, and let's be fair, bro.
well, let's break it down a notch here, because it depends on what reality you think is reality. Because the movie opens up, and I'm hanging out with my girlfriend, and everything's my wife, and everything's good, and I take some medication. And it's either medication or heroin, depending on what reality you think is real, which is where things get a little funky monkey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's just taking, pharmacy pills, and and then he goes to sleep, and then he wakes up, basically in like a crack den situation, or a heroin den, heroin nest. I don't know what the words are,
crack
but
den kind of thing, fair play. He's like saying to the woman, "Get to school now." He goes back to bed. He's just there all day. So, are you just imagining this or what, dude? Or did another woman just crawled into your bed? That's a different woman. What
the fuck are you doing?
Now, this part was offered to me on the set of Wrath of the Blood Angel.
Oh, was it on the set they offered you it?
Yeah.
God, okay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I got Evan, the producer of Wrath of the Blood Angel, was like, hey, I got this, this story, and so he sent like, a synopsis, like a little breakdown of the story, and read it. I was like, oh, okay, that sounds cool. You could do that. And it sounds like up. Now this is like that thing where, like, as an actor, you think, okay, a little ego came into here, because like the breakdown is like, I could do that.
Yeah,
I can do that. You want me to get a little I can get a little you real good. I'm good at that. I could do that. So like, I agreed to it. And so, we're doing this. We're doing the movie, and it's like, like I'm doing a lot of going. Oh my God, where am I? There's a junkie in my bed. Why is there a junkie in my bed? All this kind of stuff. And so, but like, I mean, it was an intense movie. It dealt with intense stuff, and it was like, you had to get like, that was the stuff that I focused on, was just like having to get like to the nit and gritty of like of this movie. It was like, this is intense shit. I can get like, even though I'm going crazy, it was still kind of like rooted in a little bit like, okay, your character dealing with some stuff, a little bit like Chip, but more grounded than Chip, and not so prone to crazy outbursts of rage and everything. So it was more dealing with a lot of stuff. So it was a lot going on there. I remember there was this thing where they thought I was a method actor, and I was like, I'm not method. I'm this whole method thing. I mean, because I've always been listening to my music. I'm always listening to my music, just staying in character.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where that's like. He's like, you're a method. I was like, I'm not method. Come on. I got my method, but I'm not.
It was brown sugar I was sniffing up. It wasn't real heroin. That's something, wasn't it? It was brown sugar you used, didn't it? So if anyone's accusing you of a method actor, just in case the law's involved, it wasn't real. It was brown sugar. It was brown sugar, okay? Fucking hell. That's extreme, innit? Just don't give a fuck about his mate being dead, like. But that's why you actually.
I did get a little bit of a head rush, so hey.
You actually did sniff it up as well, didn't you? Like.
I did sniff it, yeah. God knows what else I snuffed up my nose doing that. Some like cat hair, lint.
Oh, madness! So. Because like. This film, like, overall, like you said, it's got a very serious tone to it. It's very kind of dark in places, but there is like a moment or two where you get the comedy part, like when the guy with the flowers, that was pretty entertaining. It turns quite comical.
Yeah.
$15, kid.
What? You said 10?
$10. 15. Just give him the $15 and let's get out of here.
We're gonna get hustled over some shit.
He's not gonna get hustled over it.
A few moments later.
Want 5 more? Want 5 more?
Yeah. He's our fucking on again. Every time we go out with him. But then there's another scene as well, right, that happens in here, man. And this story is hilarious, right? There's a scene where you have a threesome, and it's very sort of quick happening with the two women, and then it gets a bit like messy towards the end. But how did this happen? Because the whole story of this in the script, my friend, you just explain it, because this is a phenomenal story, bro.
Now I'm on set. We're doing business. It's business as usual for me. It's business as usual, and I'm like, okay, cool, we're doing this, and then they drop the bomb. Oh, we're doing the sex scene later, and I was like, what sex scene?
What?
What sex scene? I was given the script, and the script wasn't what's the word usage here? Was not a properly formatted shooting script. It's literally just 15 pages of Microsoft Word documents. That is a direct quote. Not from me, because I don't have that kind of brain, but somebody said that to me, and I was like, okay. And here's a prime example of it. Because I didn't have a computer. I just had my phone. So my ADHD mind sometimes jumps words when I read. So I'm going to read it to you because the scene takes place after he attacks his buddy, Matt.
Yeah.
He attacks him and he snorts up the drugs. So it literally goes from, now this is a weird thing. A lot of this feels like it was inserted into a script because we go from character names to our actual names, which is always weird. Vito tries to get the bag of dope from Matt, and they get into a scuffle. And Matt isn't trying to fight Vito, but he's also not going to let Vito get the bag of heroin. AKA, I don't want the bag of heroin, so I don't know why my name's in here. That's my initial thoughts. I'm like, that's so weird. Eventually, Matt hits his head on something, or Vito smashes his face with something, and he falls down on the floor in a pool of his own blood. You see how there's like a little bit of like question mark. Maybe this, maybe that. It's in the script. Vito pats him down and finds a bag of heroin and sits on his bed and does it. What we do in the movie? I snorted it off the floor. So you see, Vito passes out and has a series of bizarre hallucinational dreams. Dreams of himself naked, covered in blood, with a crown of thorns. Dreams of himself having violence with Rachel and Sarah. That's what I thought I read, but it's actually having violent sex with Rachel and Sarah. That's the actual sentence. This is why I thought I jumped the word. I saw violence and immediately jumped to with Rachel and Sarah.
It was a single word.
Tons of maggots, self-mutilation, and ends with Rachel breaking up with him. He wakes up to Matt fumbling around his apartment. Now, in like a regular script, there should be like there'd be a cut to dream sequence. There'd be cut to this. It's just this Microsoft Word rambling. I'm sorry, it is. It's right there. It's right there. However you're gonna do it. So I missed that damn word, and so the day of, I'm just there like, oh god, because if you watch that movie, you could tell by my physique, I am not somebody that knew I was gonna be shirtless or doing sex stuff or anything like that. So I was like,
oh no. Oh, and then the other women, they're fighting over, are they going to fight over Vito? Yeah, go on, Vito. Like, he's strangling him, fucking fair play to you, mate, like, looks like a good party if you ask me.
Oh god. I would have gone on a fast, I would have freaking had a water diet, I would have pulled a Hugh Jackman and be like, no. So I am so out of my element. I'm not 100% comfortable with that stuff. I'm like that would if that got, and this brings into I was discussing this with a producer friend of mine, and they were saying how the indie scene sometimes these things kind of happen a little bit, and it was like. It's like Vito, there should have been a discussion beforehand. There should have been a rehearsal. There should have been this and now there would be an intimacy coordinator on set and everything. And so going into the situation, I was just like I said, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But I felt like I had no choice because it was in the script. As weird as the script is. So I felt like I had to do it because I didn't bring it up beforehand. This is something you bring up beforehand. So I felt like I was like, oh man. I felt obligated to do it. And so I'm not sure. I can't remember if they both knew about it and just didn't know it was happening that day, or you know what I mean? Because so there I am, scared out of my wits. I am like, I don't want to do this. And so we get down to this dirty ass basement. Man. And we clear the room out, and it's just the director and Justin Morales who's working the camera. and everybody else left, so that was a good thing. Okay, everybody left.
Yeah.
It was, and then Sarah and Rachel, they took over. They took over. I mean,
Fair
like,
play to him. Wow.
Chris, the director, was being respectful. He was being respectful, but he wasn't very vocal, and so the ladies took over. That scene is the way it is because of the ladies, and I went off of the ladies.
Yeah.
I was like, I am a piece of clay. Please move me. I am not going to be improving or doing anything, you know. So we had like, and the ladies, they brought the characters into the scene. You know, like Rachel, she played the wife and girlfriend. So the interactions with her were intimate and, you know, tender and maybe quote unquote vanilla. And then you had Sarah, who was playing, you know, the other woman, Junkie. So it was a little bit more like, you know, kinky and risque, and, you know, she's like choking me and slapping me, and so it was like the characters, the story of the, you know, his relationship with them was brought into it, and I was just going off of what they were putting down, you know, and then Matt, you know, who at this point me and him have a good relationship. He's like, what if all of a sudden I was like going down on him, man? What if I was going down on him? So like that's where that came from. Just to create the bizarre hallucination dream. Yeah. Especially since I just killed him 10 seconds ago. So now he's just there all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, you see it kind of like so shocking. You're like, what? Like, yeah. Completely out of nowhere, mate.
But hold on. Let's go back to the script. We filmed that, but there is no covered in blood. There is no crown of thorns. There is no tons of maggots. There is no self-mutilation, and it ends with there's no breakup with Rachel. So
there's a free
none of that stuff got filmed. Yeah, well, it's just that. That's, you have all this other stuff, and then it's just that. And actually it wasn't even violent sex with so that didn't even happen either. It was just like a threesome, guys. You know, hey.
I tell you what, Matt has got an account on Brazzers, mate, and he's definitely made some money you don't know about there, bro. I'm telling you.
Hey, man. But that scene is the way it is because the ladies took over. The ladies were like, you know, they were the ones that were comfortable. They were the ones who were in charge. I was a piece of clay, and the other two, you know, Justin and Chris, the director, they were just kind of like, okay, you know. I think Chris got more comfortable towards the end of the sex scene, but you know, like, you know, like let's do this shot, and you know, it was like, okay, I move over here, and you know, okay, but then, you know, but we were already done by that point, so
yeah,
and but like, but then segueing into like, you know, other scenes, like I remember like doing a scene with Sarah where we're in the bed together, and you know, we're being intimate, and then, you know, I gotta, like, you know, get physical with her and fling her around and everything, and that was fun. And now it's kind of easy when you go from a threesome to that. It's much easier. I'll tell you that much. I was like, she was surprised by how quick I went to the physical stuff. I was like, well, we just had a threesme a little while ago. I mean, this is the ice is broken.
The ice is broken.
Do this. let me fling you around. I was like, I will much rather throw you around this room than have a sex scene with you.
Yeah.
No disrespect. No disrespect. That's a lot easier for me than that. Maybe she was going off of that. She's like, he was so timid in the sex scene. I was like, well, yeah, I was timid in the sex scene. I didn't want to do it.
I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, I was like, so maybe that's what she was thinking. I don't know, but we because of that, we had you know, and also because like Sarah, I mean, she choked and slapped me in the sex scene. So I kind of felt like, oh, I can throw you around a little bit, you know. Where I mean, we can throw around. 100%. But we had a good time. I mean, the physicality was important and everything, and I mean, Sarah brought a lot to like very like minimum screen time, but she brought a lot and has a lasting appearance in the movie for me. And then Rachel, she was so game, like in that final confrontation.
Yeah.
Where, like, you know, like I'm like so physical with her, and she was there every step of the way, and, you know, brought it, you know. So like, Those are kind of like my those are my favorite moments on Infers. Where like my one-on-one with Rachel.
Okay.
And because like it's just so intense and it's so like
It
gritty
really
and
is,
so
yeah.
like I'm sweating and she's reacting to this beast in front of her and
It's been 4 years. Why are you doing this?
This is the definition of creepy.
Your husband's gonna be home any minute. Uh-oh.
Woohoo! You like the freaky stuff, huh? That's cool.
Oh, shit.
So I and then we move on and it's like like I mean I liked working with Matt. Matt was cool. We had because Matt was the thug in Blood Angel.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So
I knew I
we
recognized
carried
him,
that
yeah.
over. We carried that over. So whenever I had to do my fight scene with him again, I was like, "We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're gonna be So it was a lot more careful. I was like, "We're gonna go over the stuff." And then my buddy Edgar, he played the new boyfriend of Rachel's character.
Rachel, yeah. Oh, there it is. There it is. The quick kill. Well, not that quick. Because she loves you more.
Who I had to shank and stab, and we had like a good little time there. Where he was game. I mean, like it was like it was a much more like I remember like having to shank him, and he was just so into it and everything, and that felt so organic and very flowy. Even though we really didn't work anything out, it was just kind of just a stab. You don't know how someone's gonna go, and he started going with it. It was like, oh, cool, someone wants to play, so. Kind of like the way that Michael did on Pigpen, where it's like, it's the pre-action before the actual action, and he's just giving a lot, and we're just going back and forth, and we develop a kind of like a physical chemistry with each other. So,
okay, yeah.
Yeah, so like I was saying, like that was cool. I mean, and then I perform a C-section.
Well, you become a surgeon in this movie.
I become a surgeon.
Yeah. You do. Dabbing fuck out of her, like, to remove the little one. Yep, here we go. Loves digging through intestines in this film, doesn't he? Pulls out a nice rubber baby. Ah, look at him. And he's just gonna lay down next to a corpse, and that is okay. Which, like, we'll bring up a bit later on, but there's a very similar scene, little spoiler warning ahead there, like, but there's some mad little relation we'll bring up later on this. So, the C-section in this film, how did it feel actually doing it at the time when you're actually performing it on set and stuff?
I mean, it was like they had stuff for me to play with, so it wasn't just like slice. Ooh, it was more like gotta get in there.
Yeah.
Slice it.
Hey, little baby. How you doing, baby? How you doing?
I gotta shake that. I gotta shake him because I'm like, maybe it's alive. Maybe it's dead. I don't know. No one's telling me anything. So yeah.
It's a great scene, bro. That is awesome, man. Like, it's just like the expressions you pull off as well, and that is so genuine. It's so like, it's mad, bro.
Well, no, because at this point he's gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, so it's just like it's making reality out of a very surreal moment. So either you give it 110%, or it's just gonna look like a jackass holding a fake baby. So
yeah, true, it's great. And then like kind of he's on the bed just waiting there then, and it's kind of up to you to think then, really, is this all in his head? Did it really happen? Asking you, Vito, in your head, what do you think, or what do you take from it? Do you think that this was all in his head, or did it actually happen? What do you reckon?
I think it was all in his head because he wakes up. He had a bad dream because of the drugs he was taking, but like it showed there was a television where it was saying like hey, this batch, and he's just like, well, maybe I should maybe I should lay off this medication. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, so I think it was a dream. It was a fever dream. It didn't actually happen because he wakes up into reality, and it's like, or did he like, if you want to go into like some like some Alex Jones shit where like it's a little reality out there, man, and the drugs they help you access that reality. Alex Jones having a heart attack.
Yeah,
and you have access to reality, and now you're in between the two worlds, and they're happening simultaneously at the same time, and you're in this world and you're in that world, and oh my god, brother, oh my god, man, and the religious people come out there, man, and all of a sudden they start telling you, and the Illuminati's gonna come on in, and they're gonna be like, oh, you know too much, brother, you know too much.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
That impression was so good, bro. Well, there is that option if you want to go down that road, I guess.
I'm just saying, man. Like maybe the writer was listening to too much Alex Jones, and there you go.
Oh, fuck, that's amazing, bro. Was there anything else that we didn't mention in regards to
I wasn't anticipating doing an Alex Jones, or I would have drank some water beforehand, because I almost died right there.
Wow, mate, that was amazing. Oh, bro, that was such a fucking spot-on impression, bro.
I remember doing, like, the masturbation scene.
Yeah.
Another masturbation scene.
Are you jerking off, Vito? Yeah, you are. Of course, I should have expected something like this, especially if you... At least you're not fucking awkwardly on the fucking wall. It, like... What?
What the fuck?
That is the most awkward position to ever wank in. Like, I got too many questions, but I don't want to know the answer at the same time.
God damn.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, God
So,
damn, yeah.
now this was another moment where I thought this was going to be like, okay, I did this in science team. Like, you know, I've had 2 versions of this type of scene. So I was like, okay, I got this. I know what to do. I watched Michael Fassbender in Shame. I know what to do here.
Yeah,
Clench butt cheek, make arm motions, go. You know, that's the deal. It's like, you know, just clench butt cheeks. What's going on? Just clench. You know, so hey. It's like a very exaggerated version. But I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? So it's, you know, but the director, for some reason, he had it in his head. He's like, and this is before I even did this. This is even before I started doing the scene. He's like, I don't think it's gonna look real, man. And I was like, what are you getting at? He's like, I think we need to see it. And I was like, what? No. No. I was like, not happening. Sorry. It's okay, buddy. I just let me act it out. It's okay. Just, you know, keep the camera here, get the arm motion. It's like, you know, I was like, and then, because I don't know if it's, I just don't think it's going to play, man. I think we need to, you know, I was like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, because at this point, I wasn't even like getting into like, you know, what exactly are you talking about? Like, I'm just like you need to see it. Do you want me to hold it? Do you want me to do? I mean, I was like shutting it down immediately.
Fuck this. Fuck. Did you see this? Look at this.
I was like, we're not having this discussion.
Yeah.
Ain't number one, the scene, and you're bringing this thing up. Wait, now this wasn't like in like, you know, this wasn't the sex scene where I messed up, and I didn't bring up something before. This is something that's being brought up to me in the moment. So I felt 100% confident I could be like, no.
Yeah, of course. Like,
not discuss. This was. I mean, this wasn't in the script. I mean, it's there, but it's not like. But it's not like said, hey, we see full nudity or we see. You know. So I felt like in the moment I could be like, no.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
It's not happening, bro.
Right, like, yeah.
We didn't discuss this beforehand. It's not in the script indicate that you see anything. So, no. He offered me money on the spot. He offered me additional money, and I was like, no.
Yeah, no, respect you, mate.
I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah,
no, thank you. All right.
That's mad, though. That is, bro. That is quite mad. Like, in my opinion, that's crazy.
So, but I mean, but this is. I mean, this is like if you had an intimacy coordinator on set, or you had like all this kind of stuff. This stuff this. I mean, like people don't understand like why is there an intimacy coordinator on set these days? Because there were probably moments like this where people feel. Now, imagine if I'm a woman, and that's happening. No, that's like so much more like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, because like now flashback. He was not. Now I'm not saying this about Chris, but Chris was very respectful to Sarah and Rachel. But if you take the situation and you put like a woman in it, it's just like whoa. Yeah, and this is the stuff that women have to deal with a lot and stuff. So it's like, I always think back to that when I hear actresses talk about this stuff. I'm always like, how I felt in that moment. I'm like, oof. It must be. It's like a million times worse because, like, I mean, they're in like positions, and so I'm always like, it's one of those things where, like, until you get like you can understand something, but when you get like a perspective of it, that's when it's like a little bit like, oh wow,
yeah,
oh wow. So, I mean, because like I got to that point where I could be like, no,
yeah, no,
we're doing the same, buddy. Sorry, I'm no,
cut,
but
yeah.
you know, so I have I have a little perspective, and now and that's why when these things get brought up, I'm like, really, no bueno. So
yeah, no, I'm glad.
I learned
Good for you,
like Blood Angel and Infers. I learned a lot of stuff that I would, going forward, utilize and bring up. It's like now
good.
I fine tune that script. I'm like, print that sucker out, read it thoroughly, look it over, discuss this, that, and this, and so when we get to set, there is no question
of course.
What we are doing.
Of course.
There's no like, I learned a lot from Blood Angel and Infers.
Yeah.
Do's and don'ts, or here we pick up and learn other places. So,
well, the thing
like,
is,
there's no like, there's. I want there to be no bitterness. I learned things here and things that especially like since we have like first time directors and you have getting the ball rolling producers and everything. Like everybody's learning stuff in a different way and at different levels, and you just kind of come together and you learn and you move on.
Well, talking of then, mate, there was a movie after Infers you've done, 2016, so I think this one came out after. A movie called Alcoholist, where you play an electrician, and your scene is pretty much aside Bill Moseley. A lot of people will know that name. He's a legendary actor. How did you get involved on this one, and how was it working with Bill Moseley as well, my friend?
I'm sorry I couldn't get him to follow me. I tried. I mean, I'll come back tomorrow. I'll make up some excuse that I saw those cables were being chewed up by rats and that
it's a bad idea.
I thought you went to have a look around the house.
Let's just leave it, okay, Harold?
If this drunk is bothering you, I can teach him a lesson. I'll cockblock his juice every half an hour. That'll drive anybody crazy.
Let it go. Look, if he bothers me again, I'm gonna call the cops.
But I can handle it.
I just don't want to get in trouble because of that asshole. That's final, Harold.
Well, this goes back to the Nukem High, where Infers was, hey, I've seen you on this. Would you like to be in this? But we went back to the thread of Nukem High, where Justin was producing this film with a bunch of friends. I mean, he was in collaboration with a unit out of Italy. So it was like an Italian group of guys filming a movie, and they collaborated together to make The Alcoholist happen. Okay. And he was up in Niagara Falls, Buffalo area, where we filmed Nukem High. And
yeah.
Zach was on set helping out. Seeger was on set helping out.
Oh, sick.
Drew and Michelle, the producer of Science Team, she was on set.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, so many friends were there. I mean, that were, so nice to see. I mean, there was just so many people there that, I was like, oh. But Justin wanted me in the movie. And a role came up that he was like, and I think he was having a conversation with Zach. And they were just kind of like, we need to get Vito in this movie. Let's try to get Vito in this movie. And so they had me audition for the electrician. And
okay.
I don't know what I did. So many auditions. I sent in so many videos of me, like it was like talk slower, talk faster, hands, no hands.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, I mean, they just kept like telling me different ways to do it, right. And I'm looking at the scene and I'm like, guys, this scene it's just two dudes talking. I mean, there's some of those things I'm like, okay, I mean, you want to see me, but it's just like the amount of different variations I had to give for two scenes, and it was just very like, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry on the page. There wasn't a whole lot of like to do. So I just was like, okay, maybe this is just your process of like, so I just did so many variations for that audition, and then I got the part, which I was like, and I thought the next audition was going to be like, hey, can you do it on your head upside down?
Yeah.
No.
Do a b-boy
Can you make
dance
that
while you're
work?
fucking doing it, like, yeah.
So, you know, it just get. I thought that's where we were going, but then I got the part, and I take the bus up to Niagara, and I get picked up, and I'm just there. I remember going. Now this is the fun part. They rented out the funeral home from Newcomb High.
No, the same place. No way.
That was the home base. Was the funeral home.
That's crazy. I had no idea. What?
I feel like I went back home for a second. I was like, "Who says you can't go back home?" I did. So
that's crazy. I had no idea.
I got to sleep back in that funeral home on the floor again.
Shit.
But
a floor again. I was gonna say you didn't get a bed, did you? This time, shit.
No. Only the higher ups did. I was just there as a as a favor. I think
as an electrician doing your job, mate.
But was on set, and I remember just kind of it was nice hanging out with everybody, hanging out with Drew as Drew sings a Seal song outside, and doing wrestling stuff with Seeger, hanging out with Zach, and I remember what's the word? I remember Justin asked me to do behind the scenes and filming Bill Moseley get a cast on his arm for an effect later on in the movie. Yeah. And so that was that stuff. And I remember Drew and Michelle from Science Team were gonna sleep in one of the set houses. I don't know why. I can't remember why, but so we were gonna sleep overnight to kind of get an early start on the day. They had a lot of work to do. I think that's what it was. And so they were like, "Hey, Vito, do you want to sleep over at the house?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So we sleep there, and all of a sudden, madness happens. There are flashy lights going on in and out of the house in the middle of the night as we're sleeping, and and Michelle wakes up having this terrible dream, and Drew is consoling her, and there's all this madness going on, and you know what? And I slept through all of it.
What the hell?
I slept through, this is all stuff told to me after the fact. I slept through all this stuff.
So it was like an alien invasion, and you slept through it. You slept through an alien invasion.
I slept through it. My subconscious was saying, "Don't wake up, Vito. Don't wake up with these flashy lights and hysterics happening over here." I slept through all of it. This was stuff that was told to me after the fact, so I experienced none of it. I cannot say if any of it was real, if it happened. None of it. That's not my story to tell. I can only tell you that this stuff happened. I was asleep.
Hey, if you're a method actor, you were going back to Dark Windows when you're back on the floor, mate. Just passed out, mate. So that method actor thing is true. Oh, if I was going to say, where's Vito? He's just fucking passed out on the floor, is he?
Well, duh.
Guys, get the fuck up, Vito. We're filming. Caught you. That's crazy though, man. All I slept through it.
That is the part of it that's like, nah, I'm not Wesley Keaton. I can't do that. I can't fight the forces of evil. I'll sleep through it.
Yeah, it's easier.
It's a good time to go to sleep.
How did you find working with Bill Moseley then? Sort of going back and forth? Because it seems like you had really good chemistry with him on the actual movie.
Well, Bill is he's 100% a real dude, He was hanging out with the guy that was driving him from set and everything. He would go off and hang out and probably go find a guitar somewhere and play some songs or whatever. He seems like that type of guy. He'd be like, let's find a guitar, play some music. I could see him doing that. So, and he's just a chill guy, a cool guy, and I didn't want to bother him because I just didn't want to be like, yo, Devil's Rejects. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I didn't want to fanboy on him, so I just kept it 100% the scene and everything, and so we did the inside stuff, we're like, hey, wake up, and I remember us just naturally giving each other looks in the scene as we're reacting to the other actor, the other actor was doing crazy stuff, so I didn't have to be crazy, so we were waiting for once, so I remember we were looking at each other like, motherfucker, be crazy. And then we do the outside stuff, and Now there are two ways to go about this. Now they were like trying to discuss the scene and everything, and they were like, well, "Should we do a long shot?" And I remember like walking and talking, and I was like, "I don't know if we should do that. I think we should do it." Like the director and the DP were debating, and Bill was like, "We can do it. We can do it." He looks at me because we can do it. I was like, "Yeah, we can do it. Yeah." So, we do this. We do this one up to a certain point, and then it becomes, and like in my head, I was like, man. He must like think I'm good, or he must think let's do this one. But then there's that other thought in my head was like, it was cold, it was windy. He's like, let's get this shit shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my other thought. There's that one thought where you're like, he must think I'm good, and the other thought was like, it is cold, it is windy. Let's shoot this simple scene. But like either one is like, hey. We did it. We had fun. We had back and forth. I mean, and I remember like later. I remember Zach asked for a photo, and then he looked at me. He's like, "Would you like a photo?" And like we took a photo, where he gave me like this little like look. I don't know. I mean, it was a good time. I mean,
the scene is really good, man. Like you actually really work well together. It's like I know you're only in there for a short space of time, but like I think you two actually really vibed well. My opinion, man.
Well, he's a real dude. I mean, he's somebody that's like hey man, sometimes I have good performances, sometimes I have bad. I edit it. Hey, he's like very chill like that. Where it's like if it's something bad, I think he rolls it off his shoulder like, hey, moving on.
Oh, what a legend! What a legend.
Dead Winter Days. I mean, this one was it didn't really have a thread of Nukem High.
Okay.
It had like you were in Nukem High.
Yeah.
Would you like to be in my movie or in my short? So, okay, cool, yeah. He like knew somebody who got my info, type of thing. The director Joe, and so now this was like, I mean, it was a quick little. It was. I mean, it was very simple. Nothing was like too, crazy. Let's put it that way. There's a lot of like me having to go out there, like go and like rehearse with him and figure out stuff.
But where did you have to go? Because you have to travel, didn't you? You have to travel out to actually film. It was someone's house you filmed this in, didn't you? Is that right?
Actually, it was the house next to the college where they were at. So it was like kind of the same deal like Morales and Blood Angel, where they were like kind of like filming something, for school, not school, just using the, using the equipment, so to speak. So they did that. And this was like one of the first things I did after Nukem High. So like I'm very young in this, very like, very slender. And, but it's one of those things where like, it gets filmed in 2013, 14, and then it gets released way later.
2016. Yeah, 2016. Mm-hmm. That's when it came out. As part of 12 Slates of Christmas of that anthology film, yeah. 26. So you filmed this years prior to it, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I mean, this is the thing. Sometimes when you look at something, you're like, so it's just like that thing about like indie film where like you film something, it goes through either post-production hell, or someone just sits on it for a while and then it just magically pops up later, and you're like, oh, look at that.
Yeah,
which we'll find with some other films that I've done down the line. So, but I mean, we filmed it in someone's house. I can't remember whose house, but they had like a huge backyard of just like trees and like, I mean, it was just so like we could film it like we were actually in the woods. So we had to go in and out of the house and film the woods and everything. That was cool. And then having to do like the scenes with the father, who was he's like a character actor. I mean, he came to set dressed like that. I mean, nobody done him up. That's why he came to set. Yeah, he came to set looking like he just led some hobbits to Mount Mordor. I mean, that's the way he dressed.
God! Fair.
Forgive me for not throwing you into the fire.
Fuck off saying that about Vito. Yes, go on, Vito. Yes, Vito, you shoved his head in the fire.
That's why that guy looks like 24/7. Like, wait here, Frodo. I have to go do this scene with this man. So, yeah. And that one was pretty simple. I mean, besides like having to film. Now this is not because this movie was out of order. chronologically of like my filmography or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Filmography. That this is the movie this is the movie where I figured out layers is important.
Okay.
You know, it's like I had like my coat wasn't zipped up, so like in continuity wise, doing a lot of stuff. I had to like have it open for blood, and because the blood would show up, even though it doesn't really show up, and there was like a whole thing of like that. So like, I was really cold.
Yeah,
and the coat wasn't that good.
Again, isn't it? Yeah, shit.
The coat wasn't that good. The coat was actually my ex-girlfriend's coat that I was wearing.
No, it was
it looks like a winter coat, you know. So it was kind of like, you know, it was like this little flimsy thing because she came from Indiana. So she's like used to butt ass cold weather. So like this little coat on me, a Texas boy, it was just not doing the work for me. So I was like, man, this sucks. I'm cold. I'm so freaking cold. So this is where I learned the lesson of like take care of yourself and like get some layers, get some make sure you're actually got some hand warmers because this is the movie where like my hand got frozen where I was like I can't.
Oh, this was one, was it? Oh shit, okay.
This is the one where like my hands got frozen and I had to like do stuff with a knife and carry around a baby and get dragged around.
That's right,
because
this is like going back to In Furs. There's a very similar scene to In Furs. This is technically this is the first time you were a surgeon, but from what we see as a public, it's the second time. But this is the first time you actually, because you done this before In Furs, didn't you?
The baby for my life
the
and
baby,
freedom.
The baby for my life and freedom. Fuck.
That's all I want.
Holy shit.
That's all I've ever wanted.
Is he? Yeah, I think he's got a knife. Is he gonna do an In Furs? He is. He's doing this happens in Furs.
Yes. Frantic rage, intensity, and performing on the spot C-sections.
Yeah,
that's what I'm good at.
That's VITO TRIGO. If you ever need that, hire the guy.
Yeah.
Hey, not only is he a phenomenal actor, mate. Hey, if you need a baby delivered, or if you need a wedding done, the guy's got talent. He's got talent.
Yeah. So. Yeah. But. Yeah, I think it was just dealing with the cold. That was the biggest lesson from that one because it was it wasn't a simple story. It's a complicated story. It's a Krampus story.
Yeah.
So that was cool about it. And this coward ass character who's just like so scared, and fear is taking him over that he would like murder his loved one, sacrifice a baby. So it's like just like Wayne, understand him, don't like him.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can put a whole lot into something and feel something, and then when you see it on film, it's not like that because you don't really see the Krampus's little minions,
It's very quick cuts, isn't it? When you see them, they're very
but those guys were
really
put
quick,
in like full makeup. They their heads were covered. They had makeup on them and everything.
Yeah.
They had these little. But you really don't see them, and it's one of those things where it was a lot of detail. A lot was put into it that doesn't show up in the movie. That I feel sorry for those guys because those guys, they were besides me having to wear my coat, they just wore like their little like garbs, and then they had like the makeup on and everything, and they were out there in the cold, and I'm like, man, you can barely see you guys. That sucks. But
well,
now that I think about it, I'm like,
filmmaking
those guys,
process,
that must have sucked for them.
Yeah. Well, was there anything else you could think of happened on the sort of Dead? Because we all mentioned Dead Winter Days, which is part of 12 Slaves of Christmas. This is another reason why it came out so late, isn't it? Because you had all these other mini-films having to do it, so you were probably waiting for them to be finished, even though yours was done. They were probably just waiting for all these other ones to get finished. That's why it took ages to come out, I imagine.
Or maybe somebody was like asking for Christmas shorts or whatever, or like Christmas horror shorts.
Well, yes,
does anybody have anything? Submit them, and they're like, "Oh, I have this," and it just became like a thing. So because if you look at all those movies, they do not really link up or anything. There's a whole lot of
No, it's basically completely separate stories, basically. And like completely different qualities. Like some of the film quality is completely different to others on them. Completely different.
Now the same guy that was the DOP on that did the DOP work on Blood Angel.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh right.
Yeah. He's a good guy. That guy's a good little filmmaker. I'm a good little cinematographer. I liked working with him. Actually, I remember on Blood Angel, I would like go over to him and be like, "Hey man, does this look all right?" He's like, "Yeah." So we had that relationship from Dead Winter Days into Blood Angel.
Yeah.
Rob is his name. Yes, I remember just being able to comfortable to ask him like, hey, does this look good? Does that look good? You know, when we were doing the fight stuff. So, you know, but they had like 2 cameras on Blood Angels. So, you know, I remember being comfortable enough to ask him, hey, how does this look? Like, cool. Cool. Any comfort, like, you know, but you know, he's great. So.
Oh, well, legend. But that's what you want, isn't it? If, like, at the end, they need to do their job. They need to be honest with you as well, isn't it? So if the more honest you are with each other on set, I think it's just going to make a better product in the end, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Was there anything you would like to mention, bro, before you go? Because I have kept you now for a bit, my friend. Was there anything you'd like to mention on maybe something we didn't bring up in the films, or anything you'd like to say to the people watching, my friend?
Well, I would like to take a moment to give a special shout out to James from My Bloody Banjo, because he made a comment in the comment section, and it triggered something in my mind where, because remember I was talking about how like I was feeling like so overwhelmed, and I remember that he came on to set, and I remember it was like I was in the courtyard of the cottage. It was like a little courtyard to the cottage, and he just came out and he's like, oh. And I remember he just like put me at ease because he just would come over and just start talking to me. He's like, "Hey man, how you doing?" It's like, and he just started being so honest and so like forthcoming to me, and being like, "Man, I got this huge monologue and I gotta learn it." And I'm just like, it's like, "Oh, I'm so stressed. I gotta learn this and I want to do it like in one take and I want to like do it really good." And I'm just there like, it put me at ease because he was confiding in me and letting me. It made me feel so much more comfortable. You know, and then later I get myself worked up for the scenes, but I remember just feeling uncomfortable that there was somebody else there that was kind of feeling the way that I was, and all this sea of intimidation and like, you know, of you know, this talent intimidation where I was like, oh my god, and he's just there being like, oh man, I'm so nervous, and I remember I was like us talking, and I was it made me feel good, it made me feel good, it just popped in my head like, oh yeah. So I just want to give a little shout out to James because James was nice enough to watch and make a comment on the video. So
certainly, you know. And he done a great job in the movie. Absolutely fantastic job as well, playing Pelter, the role of Pelter, legend.
We had a great time, and I beat him up a lot in the movie, and he was game 100%. You know, he was like in on it, and I mean, I beat him up. I sexually assault him. I, you know, whisper in his ear sweet nothings. I mean, I do everything to him in the movie. So, and he was, you know, 100% game. There was no like, oh my god, you know. I think it was like, it was an outtake in the movie, like we're fighting in the bathroom stall, and I pull up his pants and I like give him an ultimate wedgie, and his head hit the top of the ceiling because, man, these tall guys, man. I mean, these tall guys, and I think I'm strong, so like, mixture of like height and strength and velocity, and it's like a science equation. Bats just gonna happen. So boom, hit the wall. He just went with it. He's like, oh, I hit my head, but he just kept going with it. I mean, James is 100% a real dude too, man. I mean, we'll talk about him later on, but I mean, James, you know, was if we lived in the neighborhood and he was like, Vito, I need you to do this for me, I'd be like, I'm there, dude. 100%.
Oh, sick, man. That's sick. And on that note, anyone who has been commenting and checking out, much love to you and respect. Like, you know what I mean? It's really appreciated, and I'm just glad that you guys are checking out Vito's work as well, because I think it needs to be spread out more, man. You're like a genuinely really talented actor, and I really enjoy your work. So keep in mind though, mate, we have got, I would estimate another 2 parts here, because I don't want to rush you for everything, but I think we're going to have another 2 parts to get through your works, my friend. Another 2 parts, I would say, if that's good for you.
Well, it's because, and there's a thing here, I love that you have it in chapters, so someone can be like, oh, I've seen this movie, let's listen to him talk about this.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, well, talk, you know, something more personal like the college stuff.
Certainly, yeah.
So you can break it up a little bit and be like, hey, come back, watch this, hey, watch that, you know.
Yeah, certainly.
So
best way to do it.
Especially since, like, the thing about, like, doing indie movies is that sometimes you do a movie and it gets thrown out there to the ether. You don't know what happens to it. And, like, I did, like, a lot of movies back-to-back that you didn't know anything was going to happen. And then all of a sudden, they all wind up on Tubi. A majority of them wind up on Tubi. And it's like, hey, there's all those movies I did, you know? Or, like, they traveled the festival scene and kind of disappeared a little bit. And now they popped up again. So it's like, I mean, now is the time. That's why, like, you know, someone was like saying like, why do you want to talk about these movies you did like so long ago, or you did like, you know, it's like because they're all there now. They're there, so people can just watch.
Go watch them yourselves. Go watch them yourselves. Like, yeah, exactly. And like some things you should mention as well. Some of your own movies you didn't even have copies of. It's only kind of recently you've been getting copies of some of your own movies you're in. Some of your films, like, they're mad. Mad.
I mean, that's the trials and tribulations of, like, you know, underground filmmaking, or, like, you know, people like, they don't have the funds to be, like, you know, so gracious with, you know, giving out DVD copies. I mean, they'll send a link
when
and
you're
nobody's
the actor
business.
in your own film. You're the actor
Like an
in your
actual
own film,
copy.
and you've got to pay for your own DVD sometimes. That's mad. That's quite
Hey,
mad.
man, I mean, some of these projects I didn't get paid, man. So, like, hey, good.
Yep,
I mean, if
true,
I got a DVD,
true.
I'd be like, hey, that's a plus.
True. Well, anything else you'd like to say, Vito, before we give this one an end and carry on to the next one?
I hope if you made it this far, you enjoyed it, and that, you know, we got more coming up, and I'm glad that, you know, that you're finding my stories entertaining. So I'm happy. I'm happy that, you know, you're happy.
Amazing. So, as always, Vito, thank you so much. And thank you very much for watching it as well. We have got more to come down the line. So, check the description for part 1, part 2. And then when we've done the rest down the line, I'll update the description. Also, check the descriptions out, because I put, like, links of, like, the movies themselves where you can get them from. Or if you're interested in seeing a Dud or Spud, they're also there. Vito, your Instagram link is also in there, which I fully recommend you check. But yeah, Vito, again, thank you so much, my friend. So until next time, my dude, I will be seeing you for part 4.
Thank you, buddy. Looking forward to it.
Legend. Thanks, brother. Take care, man.
Maniacal Mac.